Today was the day I was planning to get back on the ramp and try this new setup out. As you can see, it's snowing. So the skate park was not an option, but thankfully I could sneak into my friend's basement and use his mini ramp. Hey there. I do not intend for this to be a daily vlog, probably more like once a week or so, but I did just build that board yesterday and I had to try it out. So let's see how that went. So here's the board now that I've ridden it just a tiny bit. The trucks were much too turny for my taste, and I knew I was in danger of wheel bite. So I put a slightly harder board side bushing in. It's a Cairo blue barrel. Not quite hard enough, I don't think. So I mostly ended up riding my old board today because I haven't skated much in probably a few months. So for getting back onto the ramp, I wanted something that felt a little more familiar, especially with this being so wibbly wobbly. So I remembered, I think this morning, that I had changed out the board side bushing on these trucks as well. And these are the Ace 33s. The other board has 44s, which are slightly wider, so even more leverage when you're leaning on the outside of the axle. And so I looked this up. These are Riptide bushings, and they're 93A, so they're pretty hard. I believe the top bushings are still stock. The outside, the roadside bushings are still stock. The best I had available, I had a Reflex Orange Plus, which I think is 86A. Lemon is 81, or is it 83? It was ballpark 86A. These, the Cairo Blue, I think are supposed to be 85A, but they're much more like doughy. I don't know, they were okay. They're better than the stock ones for me, my particular weight in these trucks and this setup. But I didn't feel comfortable with it, so I switched back to the other one mostly. But it was fun to get on this board. These wheels have a much smoother feel to them, not just because they're new. I think the formula is a little different. These are the park formula. The other ones are the skate park formula, which are listed separately on Powell Peralta's website. So I assume that they're different in some way, but they are very similar, same size, same hardness, I think, narrower track on these. One of the things that came to mind this morning before I went over to skate was that I haven't practiced falling in a long time. When I was in college, I specifically practiced falling because I knew that in the moment of suddenly going toward the ground, you don't have time to think, and so you need to get your body to react naturally in a way that's going to protect you as you roll out your energy or just avoid those direct impacts on joints and things like that. So I actually considered maybe I should try standing at the top of the ramp and maybe even without a board, just practice falling down the ramp. And I ended up not doing that on purpose. But I did fall a couple times today, and it was kind of refreshing, actually, to fall down the ramp, realize that, it hurts. I'll probably hurt more tomorrow because I'm getting old. But, it's fine. I got up and I rode again. It did make me really skittish about kick turns for a little while, but I got those back, too. Another thing that I had in mind heading into this was I was watching a recent episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, where one of his writers had tweeted something about my toxic trait is thinking that I could do this crazy dunk if I had 6 months to practice. And so Stephen actually brought him on the show. They talked about it. He had a basketball hoop there and told him to, okay, go ahead and try dunking. And he didn't even make the rim. And the writer commented, he's like, well, you can't, you need a before photo if you're going to have an after photo.
How you feeling, champ? How are you feeling? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling okay. You can't get an after picture if you don't take a before.
That's right.
And I thought, that really, I feel that a lot because I'm not good at skateboarding, and I just really love it. So my hope is to practice a lot more this year than I did last year or the year before. There were other things that kept me from skateboarding those years that aren't around now. So that sounds like my family left me. That's not the case. I was in grad school. Yeah, I'm not like taking 3 classes a semester anymore in addition to the rest of life. So I should have a little more time to skate. And I want to get better. So I want to document that progress that I anticipate. And this is the starting point. And it's a pretty rough starting point. I have, I'll do another video sometime, or maybe like a video series when I'm looking for filler material about my history in skateboarding and how my life has brought me to this point. I've spent a lot of time on a board, but I'm not very good at tricks. That's the short version. And so I'd like to get better at riding ramps and doing at least some basic tricks. So that's why I'm here. Thanks for being here also, because being able to share it with the public, I think, is an encouraging element. So in order to get a good before photo, I just wanted to go through kind of the highlights, not the entire skate session, but sort of the series of things that I did. So this is my first time back on a ramp. This is the old board just to get used to it. This ramp does have an I-beam that goes across right above the transition there on that end, and that's how I initially got rock fakies a couple of years ago, or whenever I first did it, was by grabbing on and feeling the motion of the board, and then eventually just touching the I-beam but not grabbing on, and then eventually not grabbing on at all. And that seemed to work pretty well, but I definitely don't have them anymore. So this is that was trying the same thing on the new board. Here I'm changing out the bushings, trying it out again. You can see it's still pretty tippy. I think I'm going to end up putting in the same bottom bushings as in the other board. There you can see I don't know how to ollie or impossible. There's more practice. That one, I think, actually, I just touched the I-beam and didn't actually grab on. So I feel like I'll get them back with a couple more practice sessions. Here's just more of working on that, trying it out, getting a feel for the ramp, goofing around, being a goofball. At this point, okay, I've been able to drop in before. I've done it. I learned how, I think, I know I knew how in 2009, and I think I had it at some point before that as well. And I've done it since, but not recently. And so I just kind of wanted to try out getting a feeling for how does the board feel going down into a drop in. And then I decided not to try it yet, but I'll get there. So this is just more practice, pumping back and forth in a mini ramp, and there's the fall. So what happened there is I tried to go for a rock fakie kind of at the last second, and I didn't have enough speed. The wheels hit the coping, and that's what threw me off. Then you can see I did a little practice with that Casper-looking little thing here, and we're back to riding. And I think my fall's coming up here again in just a moment. But nope, that's where I got nervous and stepped off. So if this is boring for you, it's excruciating for me to watch because I can see exactly how bad I am at skateboarding. This is after that second fall. Just felt like it was important to get back on and try more. There's definitely where I got nervous and stepped off. And here's where it clicked that I needed to lead with my shoulders a little bit more to get through a kick turn. And so that felt good to be able to do that again after suddenly not having it for a second. But yeah, that more or less wraps up the skate session. So that's my starting point. Thanks for being here, and stick around, subscribe if you want to follow my journey here. I hope to continue making videos, and we'll see where I'm at in a few months. But yeah, loosely speaking, once a week is what I'm aiming for. So see you around.